What is up, everyone? Hope you guys are doing well and had a great weekend. This is going to be the weekly outlook for the 15th to the 19th of September. We do have FOMC this week. I'm actually super excited with Tesla breaking out here as well. So I do expect some nicer price action coming into kind of mid September and then really into the end of the year here as well. I do expect the markets to start heating up. So for the key economic events, really first things first. The main thing is going to be that FOMC, as I mentioned, on Wednesday, but we have Tuesday, some red folder news here at 8:30, which is going to be that core retail sales. But the main thing here is going to be your FOMC statement, along with the press conference that's going to be at 2 o'clock, along with 2:30 on Wednesday. So that's the main thing. And then we also have unemployment here on Thursday as well. As for some of the earnings, basically majority of the earnings are over currently now. So let's go on to some of the names that we're looking at and some charts. This is for the ES. Thesis for this coming week, nice break above your 6520 level last week on the ES. And now you can see that we're continuing to push towards the upside. What I like to see coming to next week is the reaction that we have off your 6520. That will be the key level moving forward. We also have FOMC next week, which will likely be a key news driver in the market. So as you can see here for the ES, coming into next week, key levels that we have marked out is really going to be the area that we broke out from, which is your 6540. This was a key level last week, and then now what we can also mark out here is going to be your last week's high. So those are the key levels coming to next week. You can see here on the 1 hour time frame, once we broke above this key pivot high, we end up having this nice continuation towards the upside. And then you can see we basically got above that 6540 last week, and then we had that nice continuation higher here on Friday. So what I like to see coming to next week is the reaction that we have off of your 6540. And we're also going to keep an eye out on your previous week's highs here as well, which is going to be this 66 basically, sorry, this 6600 here for the ES. Now let's go on to the SPY chart. Basically similar thesis here. Nice push towards the upside on SPY. Last week we're above the 652. We can see a nice push towards all-time highs. What I like to see coming to next week is the reaction that we have off the weekly highs. We do have FOMC next week. So we should keep that in mind. So for the SPY, similar thing here. If we go on to the daily chart, as you can see, we're building up nicely here, higher lows, and now we're having this nice continuation towards the upside. If you go into the 1 hour chart, once we finally broke outside of your 652, this was our key level from 2 weeks ago on Friday. And I can see once we got above that level here, end up using this as a retest for a nice continued push towards the upside. So key levels that we have marked out on the SPY chart now is going to be your last week's highs, your 658.50s, and then you also have marked out all the way back here, which is going to be that 652. So these are the levels coming into next week here on the ES along with the SPY. If you go on to the NASDAQ, NQ finally made a new all-time highs. As you can see, this one is still lagging the ES. Most names have not hit all-time highs, whereas the NQ is there. What I like to see coming into next week is the reaction that we have off the 24,000 level. That will be key moving forward. So if we go on to the daily chart, as you can see here, nice higher lows have been built, and we're continuing to push towards the upside. This one, we finally hit your all-time highs last week, which in this case, as you can see, is your 24, really this 2480. So this is a very key level here on the higher time frames. We finally hit it on Friday. Nice continued push towards the upside. Now, if we go into the lower time frames coming into Monday and moving forward, we just like to see markets, or specifically the NQ, maintain above your previous all-time highs. Use this level as support for this continued push towards the upside. So that's what we have for the NQ, and the exact same thing as the QQQ, right? Those are the key levels that you're going to have marked out. It's just going to be now your 585. That's going to be your key level for continuation towards upside. As long as you can maintain this level, we can expect continuation higher. Let's go on to some of the tech names. Tesla breaking outside this weekly base, as you can see here, towards the upside. Huge move towards 400. What I like to see coming to next week is continuation. We do have a daily gap above. This one is super strong. Really, the next levels on this one is all the way back up towards 420. So for Tesla here on the daily chart, Really strong weekly base. As you can see, higher lows are being built, right? Break above this level, continuation towards upside. We have a daily gap all the way back up into towards 400 and above. This one closed very strong. Nice break on Thursday. Push higher here on Friday. Coming into next week, we're just going to have marked out key levels, previous high, and then we can also mark out levels above 400 key psych, 401 daily gap fill. I'm fairly bullish on Tesla. I expect any dips that we do have on this name to continue towards the upside. So we'll talk about this a little bit more here on Monday. As for a few other tickers, Nvidia. Right now you can see that Nvidia bounced off the low of the range being the 166, which this one is this one is pushing higher here. What I like to see is it move back up and towards your all-time highs. A break above 180 will send this back there. So for Nvidia, for a look at this on the daily chart, nice higher lows are being built. Nice key level of support bounce. Now for Nvidia, I like to see this continue push back up and towards your all-time high. So nice push up last week. We broke back above your earnings low. Continuation towards upside. Currently flagging here. So what I like to see on Nvidia is really this continue push now back up in towards your all-time highs and above. So this is what we'll be looking for coming to next week. Break above your previous day highs will send this back towards upside. As for Apple dropped last week back in towards key levels of support. What I like to see coming to next week is a reclaim back above the 235 key level. That will be the level that we need to see Apple above if we want to see a move back towards the upside. So for Apple, key levels that we have marked out is really this 235. So this 235 here is going to be key. If we can reclaim back above, we can essentially invalidate this head and shoulders, and we should see this nice continued push back towards the upside. So for Apple, key levels, as I mentioned, 235 above your previous day highs, continuation back up and towards 240 is in play for Apple. I am very bullish on this ticker. As for AMD bouncing off the low of the range being your 150. You can see that buyers are stepping off this level. What I like to see is this name make a new higher low for a push back towards the upside. Key levels on this will be 168 back towards the upside. So for AMD, if we go into the daily chart, key levels that we have marked out is your 150 key level support. Right, you can see buyers are kind of stepping in here. What I'd like to see now, reclaim back above your 168 for continuation back towards upside. So that's what we have for AMD. Other levels we can have marked out here as well. 160, break above your 160. We can see this push back towards upside here as well. As for the other tickers, Meta, not really too much to talk about on this name. It is right around key levels of support being the 750. What I like to see moving forward is the reaction that we have off this level. You can see that buyers are stepping in so far off the 740. So really not too much to talk about on Meta. We have been just kind of consolidating in this general area. So this is your previous all-time highs, multiple touches, kind of just flirting around this level. So for Meta, not too much to talk about in this case. If we do want to see a pushback towards upside, kind of higher lows be built, and now we like to see kind of the break back above your 760 for continuation higher. As for the last chart that I do have, Amazon, wanted to see the break on Amazon above 235 last week. You can now see we're currently rejecting off that one, and now it's right back inside of the range. So far, we're building higher lows. We fill the gap back towards the downside. Next level will be the reclaim back above your 230. So for Amazon, key levels that we have marked out on this ticker was really this key pivot high. You can see broke above it, ultimately rejected off this area, pushed back towards the downside. We have this daily gap here. We're still technically forming these higher lows. So as long as you can maintain these higher lows, you can see this push back towards the upside. But for Amazon, not too much to talk about. As for a few other names, Oracle kind of pushing back towards the downside. Really next level support is going to be 50% of the gap, and then really all the way back down towards 260s. We'll talk about a few other tickers here coming to next week as well, but AVGO looks good for a base for continuation. Palantir pushing nicely back towards the upside here. A couple other names we'll talk about like Hood and SoFi, but we'll talk a little bit more on Monday in the pre-market prep as per usual. I'll see you guys all then. With that being said, I hope you guys have a great rest of the weekend, and I will see you guys on Monday. All right, take care, everyone. Peace.